the ban phase so far. Bot laners getting taken off the list, instantly breaking up that Zyra combo. And we have Kagama from Cloud9.
Xayah, not too much of a surprise. We are on 8.5, so a lot of the bans that you've been seeing in the LCS and Academy in the last couple of weeks will maintain their priority here, most likely. But in best of fives, crazy stuff can happen. Suddenly, 180 carry, Ezreal, everyone's picking Ezreal, and they're winning on Ezreal, and so you have to suddenly raise that champion's priority out of nowhere. But for the start of the series, a lot of typical stuff. Olaf and Cho'Gath hitting the ban list as well.
Things out, what to follow with. They're going to use all the time here in the beginning. Things are slow, start of the day. We might be hyped to get in there, but we want to get in there on the right foot.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, it's one of their first times competing on this LCS stage. All of Academy remote, so you know it might start slow, a lot with like the jitters that some of these players
Heart's going fast.
Yeah, I mean Keith, Zeyzal, Golden Glue, a lot of these guys do have some experience because even in the challenger days of old, they usually made the playoffs and would have to compete live as well.
Heck yeah. Ooh, the blind pick Swain we've seen coming in a few times, and it will be locked in here on the side of Cloud9 Academy to start things off.
A little surprised to see that one left up, but Keen is a guy who knows his matchups, likes to have a lot of weird counter picks. He might have one prepared for that mid lane. It'd be nice to see if he does, but we'll have to wait. I'm sure it'll be a little while before we see it.
Jhin getting picked up, seeing that on the ban list more and more. Doublelift in the LCS actually grabbing that as people starting to tend to enjoy the show again from Jhin.
Oh yeah, he's been coming back real strong. The lethality build is kind of dead, but still very strong.
Yeah.
Go Essence Reaver, get a little bit more crit focused build.
Shrimp looks like he wants to be aggressive here. They already put out some stuff where they could pick out from FlyQuest Academy. Say if we get the chance, we'll get some kills, possibly even early. And it looks like they're going for a pretty good fight comp here on the side of Cloud9 Academy.
It's a little scary because those are two of the biggest power picks on the patch, especially with the Olaf banned out by FlyQuest themselves. Skarner kind of becomes the premier jungler. So C9's able to grab that
and safety,
as well as the Swain. And like you said, yeah, that Tahm Kench coming in, making sure that not only do they have all these power picks, they can protect them.
So definitely a strong draft from C9, and still a strong draft from FlyQuest Academy if they can file in the rest of the tanks and the mid lane that they need. Orange is going to be in the top lane, so they definitely have a little bit of that beef in the lineup now.
Yep, No is primarily a tank player, gets a lot of games of Maokai, Orange, Sion, whatever it is that he feels is the strongest in the meta. Like we were talking about Keen being a great backline carry. Same with Ares, had a pretty good split, so they want a big beefy front line. That usually means No is stuck on a tank, but what's interesting here is that they've mismatched everything but jungle, so there could be some very targeted bans coming in.
We already have that top lane once towards Shiro as Keen takes a hit. Keen says, I'm all right to take it. This is good by him, kind of being the veteran of the team.
Yeah, it depends how this matchup plays into the Swain, but if you're fine playing Ryze, Cassio, or Azir, all three of those are up. They can only ban out two, so maybe that's why you have no problem taking Ornn there instead.
Really helping the team to flex to a few other things and take the pressure off the rest of the lanes. And we see an Ezreal, and there's that Cassiopeia you were talking about, so he does have the Azir to still put in the mix. We'll see what Keith has to play at the AD carry position once FlyQuest make their fourth pick.
The other thing to watch out here for is the Swain flex to top lane. It's mostly seen mid in competitive play, but it does have a pretty high success rate in the top lane in solo queue and things like that. And Shiro is known to bust out some crazy picks, so all things considered, the Swain wouldn't even be that crazy for him.
It's a good point. Keen knows he gets that last pick, so he can say, I get to see if that goes top lane or not. That Braum gets locked in. JJ gets to be nice and supportive for the Jhin. Hopefully lock some things up. We saw a little bit more Ashe coming out yesterday. Lost was forced to play that as the AD carry's got a lot of focus in the game, and it's going to be Caitlyn all the way down, pretty far for the Caitlyn pick, but they grab her up.
I was a little surprised to see the Ezreal banned out instead of the Caitlyn. It's seen as a better matchup, I think, into Ezreal to Jhin. So to ban out something that it's decently strong into was a bit of a surprise. And there's the GP, so the Swain's going mid.
Full team from C9, a very powerful team. You have access across the map with global ultimates, as well as movement across that map with Abyssal Voyage. What is the pick? What does Keen have for the mid lane? Oh, the Veigar locked in. We're going to get started off spicy here for the semifinals of C9 Academy and FlyQuest.
Yeah, I knew there was no chance he was going to go some boring Azir at this point when he's waited this long for it, especially when they leave up the Swain. They had something prepared. It is going to be that Veigar pick.
So do you tank guard?
I don't know. It's weird because Veigar has that stun that kind of interrupts dashes and
it's funny.
Stun people up, but Swain just kind of walks at you and pulls you closer and then shotguns you with those little Eldritch bolts. So I'll be curious to see how this matchup goes. It's not something that screams strong counter pick right off the bat to me.
Not at all. FlyQuest Academy kind of throwing in a few loops here, has a team that can definitely kind of throw you off balance, but we have more of a surefire team from Cloud9 coming in very strong, kind of say they would get the champion select win here, but it could play out either way. Do you think that FlyQuest can get that early lead with the team they're against right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have the Ornn into GP, which is kind of nullified in the top lane. And then you have really strong burst and pick-off potential. So Swain and Skarner are going to want these long extended fights. And you have a ton of burst potential on the side of FlyQuest there. The Swain gets too close and Veigar hits his item power spike. You can annihilate him.
That's true. We'll see what happens. Like we said in the regular season, 1-1. In that record between these guys in the head-to-head. C9 win, Fly Academy win as we head into the matchup. We get onto the wrist for this best-of-5 semifinals as Cloud9 look to make a stamp on the Academy League. FlyQuest as well. Not many people think or thought the FlyQuest Academy team would make it this far, and they have actually been making the few strides they need to in that late game that makes you turn your head.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew that Keen and Shrimp were going to be a good duo, and they have been all split long, but very surprised by their bot lane and top lane being able to match with the consistency of the other members of FlyQuest, and that's what has stood out. One of the reasons they held that first spot for so long is because teams like TLA and C9 Academy, to an extent, were dropping games against teams below them in the standings. FlyQuest just beats everyone that they should. Very strong players all around the board.
You always have those teams that'll lose to the good ones, beat the bads, or lose to the bads, beat the goods, and you're like, why does this always happen? It's good to have that consistent run. You get yourself to this point and pull out Veigar in the last instance. See if we can throw off Cloud9 Academy here. Pushing in from Wiggly, as they say, just get a little bit of vision. Seems like they want to keep one step ahead already.
Yep, and C9 Academy, like we were saying, getting a handful of power picks here. The Skarner, Swain, and Caitlyn are all considered #1 or #2 in their position in the current meta. GP is one that, after seeing some nerfs, has fallen out, but is still very strong in the tanks who can't really punish his weaker early game, and then becomes a monster in the late game. And they've managed to find some frontline for themselves, which is one of the concerns that you have when you pick GP, is ending up a little bit too squishy. But the Skarner, the Swain, and the Tahm Kench will all be there providing frontline.
I think I remember the tweet from Hanser after he was kind of like, song says pick GP, still win, songs of God. It was just like after those nerfs, as you were saying, and then people were like, oh yeah, GP definitely still workable in this meta.
Yeah, it was a lot of early game focused nerfs where he was already weak, his late game's still crazy. So it's like, wait, if we still get past those early game nerfs, we're actually still a monster champion.
As long as he can make it out of that lane. Let's see what happens up against that Ornn. You know, it seems like you said, playing the tanks. He's going to give him a hard time. Starting things off nice and slow. FlyQuest looked to do a little bit of river fun, but there was no real big push by Keith or Zazel. They went to safe farming to start things off for themselves. Keen to farm up in the mid lane. Does Shrimp kind of come and say, hey, we're going to have some fun here? Or is he just going to kind of make things happen with Golden Glue?
I expect Golden Glue to get the better end of this matchup early on, just how strong Swain is.
Fair enough. Pick your side. As you see at the bottom of the screen for our featured matchup, spam the chat. Yes, spam the chat. We said it. With Vault Boy, or for Golden Glue, I should say, and Kipo for Keen. As well, if you're on YouTube, you can still spam these. They will still count. You may not see the emote. Well, you won't. I know you won't. But it'll still work. So make sure you're spamming Vault Boy for Golden Glue in the featured matchup in the mid lane, or Kipo for Keen in the mid lane. And this is like kind of like attributed to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vault Boy for Golden Glue needs no explanation. I think everyone understands that one. But Kipo for Keen, I spoke to him before the game.
Boy.
I asked him, Keen, what's your favorite Twitch chat emote? And he said Kipo. So there you go. That's what's going to represent him in the chat. And Kipo not doing as well as Vault Boy right now. I would say people associate that meme a lot stronger with Golden Glue. So he's got that little bit of advantage already.
It is true. It kind of fits a little bit more. Now people are finding out about the Keen, and you can see it squeezing back a little bit. So it's exactly how this lane is going right now. You see Golden Glue get that 58% minion wave push here. Here comes the 42%.
Yeah, catching it under turret. I mean, like we were saying, this matchup, there was nothing that really stood out for why the Veigar would be good early on. You can maybe stop the Swain from running at you with zoning from that E, and you just focus on farming underneath the turret pretty safely. And then when you hit your big AP power spikes, maybe then you can just burst out the Swain before he's able to become a bit of a sustained tank in team fights. But it's tough early on, it looks like.
Ooh, so much harass. Kind of depleting his mana pool, which is good. Forces a few of the potions to be chugged. We can see Keen does have the dematerializers. Here we go again. on himself to
the
be
DMs.
used. And there's actually a few around the board, much more than we're actually seeing in the LCS. So we can make the banners already be apparent in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to wonder if that's why you see it on Tom Kench early on. Maybe it's because they're more concerned about the Ornn being able to build it than on the other side. Keen just taking it because he's probably going to get pushed in a fair amount.
That's a good point. Being able to fit an extra tank item in there that is a banner, you leave your lane and come in and call the Horn God in. Where are we at in the bot lane? 28 to 35. You expect that from a Caitlyn. Tom Kench's area kind of gets pushed into his turret.
Yeah, that's what was surprising to me, to see the Caitlyn left up in favor of the Ezreal. Keith, excuse me, does have a really good Ezreal, so I can understand why they might have prioritized that one slightly more. But just in terms of matchup, you got to think Jin's going to struggle a little bit more into that Caitlyn.
All right, Shrimp, empty jungle. Where are you headed? Top scuttle's been taken. Don't appear on it. Looks like he's going to get a little bit of an invade here as they start to grab up the shrines on the bottom side of the map for Wiggly. Hello, Wiggly! What kind of dance can you do on this one? A little back and forth. Can they call in Golden Glue here? It doesn't look like he's ready with the amount of mana that he has. They just try to figure out where he's escaping to. A little in and out by Shrimp and get some information for the team.
Yep, nice little play there. Stole one, hopped out of there, killed the blast cone. He already had the pink ward in the brush, so he was able to find that. And then, like you said, Golden Glue tried to scout him out with the vision of the Empire, but sent it towards blue buff a little bit more, so missed him.
Unfortunate. TP's in mid, TP's up top. Still waiting for no. That's the cool thing about Ornn. You can kind of just hang out and build stuff in lane for a little bit.
Yep, if you're not getting poked down low and forced to use your consumables, it's pretty easy to hold on to that TP. He is starting to run out of mana, so that would be a bit of a concern. But who knows, maybe now that they have TP advantage and 6 is coming up, he might want to make a play on that bot lane like you're saying.
Push it. It's just Shiro also has a red pot that he got himself for a bit of extra attack. So Noah's like, now's a good time. No, he just builds.
Builds another mana crystal.
More mana. Need it. You're like, he's out? I'm not out.
But
who's out?
Built 200 more mana.
Such a neat little thing as well. For a laner in this capacity, it probably does, or caliber, it probably doesn't do much. You understand where you're going to stall it, where you're going to push it. But for somebody else, when you think you're pushing a lane and the guy just comes back with his item already, it can really start to mess things up.
Definitely the case. One of Ornn's strengths in solo queue. Being able to just be like, hey, neither of us backed, and now I have extra combat stats against you. And people don't check the inventories as much in solo queue.
Double long sword for Shrimp. And his chilling smite as he makes his way through the jungle has red to pick up, and then we might see him on another invade. Junglers are opposite sides here. It doesn't actually stop C9 from saying, we'll go a little aggressive. Like, give room for Wiggly to take down the dragon.
I don't know if they've scouted that. I think he blast coned into the pit, so they don't know.
Yep.
Keith and Zazel walked up to drop some vision to make sure that they would scout anyone if they came to contest this. There is nice vision control there for the side of C9, but yeah, it looks like this is unnoticed by FlyQuest. They're going to be able to sneak away the first Infernal Dragon of the game just 7 minutes in.
So nice. One of the easiest to take alone, too, so Wiggly feels real good about that. Doesn't have Predator to use towards mid. Call the Forge God up. Whoa, Shiro not expecting the damage or Shrimp, but Shrimp making good plays as they take Drake bot.
I like that decision by Shiro to hold on to his flash. Knew he was dead to rights, just kind of let himself go down there. And obviously worth it for an Infernal Dragon, I'd say. It's good that they're punishing the GP. This is kind of what FlyQuest needs to do. Make sure that they set him behind, make him a little bit weak. Then once they break the top lane open, hopefully they can start moving the Ornn around the map. So this is a good game plan by both people. C9 Academy will scale very powerfully with that Infernal Dragon because they have more people who build actual damage items. The Ornn, not going to build too much, but GP is going to really love that bonus AD.
Absolutely. See one more time here as Drake was just taken on the bot side. Shrimp takes advantage.
Yep, using that passive level 6 ultimate upgrade.
Where's he at? Oh, he's right next to you.
Yep, no idea he was seen there. He's able to use the passive part to go through the top lane, brushes to get next to him, and then maybe use the active part, seeing as it's on cooldown right here. Maybe use that to get right on top of him in lane. And then Shiro just knows he's dead at that point.
Wait for the next one to flash. Just be a little bit faster. It was so quick. You expect Shrimp to be down hovering around that dragon. We'll see Shiro playing maybe a little bit safer in this situation as you don't really get vision with the Cossack Salt, so he's got to be very careful. Yep. Now he's down towards mid. Just to see he's going to pick up a little bit of more control over the jungle. Shrimp everywhere he can be right now, denying vision, lane pressure.
It's one of those things I like when the observers do is kind of mess with the vision to show just how crazy Kazak's passive is, because a lot of the time you see him running around through brushes as stealth like that. And, you know, as someone watching the game where they can see this, you're like, oh, that's not that crazy, it's not that oppressive. But when you actually play against it, it can be very hard to deal with.
Wiggly having his smite up does do the Krugs. I think Shrimp thought he might be topside for his Gromp at this point. Hops over the wall, Golden Glue with a great response. And they make their way out of that lane. 98 to 74 as Keen kind of let that go to the wayside for his last pick, Vagar. Still can be very impactful, but this lane going to Golden Glue, and he knows the matchup is.
Oh, yeah, a lot of these lanes going over. We see about a 7 to 10 CS advantage in the bot lane, like you're just highlighting, about 25 in the mid lane. Top lane down CS about 15, but you are also Kleptomancy GP here. He did not go for the grasp.
True.
So he will be getting a lot of bonus gold. It's resulted in about a 600 gold advantage despite losing first blood.
Zeyzal with the shake and bake as he gets hit up by Glacial Fissure. A little bit of safety here. No, with that TP just on the bottom of the screen. Gray Health only doing so much. I like the positioning by Zeyzal. Tries to put him himself with a curtain call so they can't get any more. One more follow-up on the Winter's Bite, but they only get the one kill. A second one, however, to FlyQuest.
Yeah, really not much gained off of that TP gank. C9A Academy were pushed up. Orin with that TP advantage, like we were saying, joining in down there. They get the kill very quickly onto Zeyzal, but with a Skarner and a Caitlyn, it's hard to push in and siege 4v2, so they're not even going to bother to try, and all you've gotten for that now is a kill.
You have that TP from Spellbook onto Zeyzal. He holds that early to get back in. A possible flash impale here from Wiggly as he goes exoskeleton strong, but just a little short. May still try to go for it, but this is taking a long time. The longer it takes to set up, that gives the enemy team a chance to recuperate and make their own engage. Very low on Zeyzal, tries to get back, gets the flash, and goes down. Zeyzal now back into the fight. Gray Health to start. Him teleporting back was able to escalate this fight, but did Cloud9 Academy want it? They bring the entire team in the kitchen sink, and Golden Glue is there. Shiro's trying to set up the barrels in the brush, but it's not enough. And they have to back up a bit. FlyQuest Academy doing very good at back and forth, microing in and out of the fight. But when do they stop? No, doesn't know when to leave, and he goes down.
Golden Glue wasn't going to let him leave.
Extended.
He landed the CC, yanked him back for that final kill, evens it out a little bit, so that ends up being, in conclusion, a 3 for 2, I believe, which does not really work well for FlyQuest Academy because they're still down pressure. That Caitlyn lived through that whole fight. They're going to push this in. The turrets are starting to get low down the bot lane. Taking another look at this, this is the first kill that they got onto Zeyzal. The teleport comes in from behind. It's completely unknown that it's even going to be there, so he just kind of gets blown up for free. Keith and Wiggly just give up on the play. Keith, nice flash, make sure does not flash into line versus Orin, which is something you sometimes see even pro players do. And then they eventually re-engage because they had continued to stay around the bot lane and Noah hadn't backed off yet. But now the TP's actually come in, the GP's able to match, get a lot of damage in. Golden Glue also teleported in, and they just didn't realize how hard it was going to be to kill Golden Glue. So much focus is being tanked by him, but not going down.
Little water break.
Noah was kind of running in circles, didn't think he was actually going to be in danger of going down, but he lands that quad, pull him back in range, and then the ult explosion does a ton of damage when you have as many stacks as Golden Glue did.
Ooh, a good flash denies the first riddle. That is actually huge for getting that % damage off of yourself, and now Shrimp has made a bit of a trek towards the top side in the Wild Goose Chase. The action is not stopping right now. They just went back to initiate as soon as we got back off of that replay.
See FlyQuest playing that high-octane style that Shrimp is sometimes known for.
Absolutely.
He has, it feels like 2 modes. One is the kind of more passive, objective control, farming mode.
I'm on Zach.
Yeah, and then there's the I'm in your jungle 24/7 looking for fights mode.
There's another Glacial Fissure. Deja vu as they get down to the bot lane. Zeyzal's feeling the pain right now as they bring 4 back down to the party zone and take down Keith and Zeyzal.
This unrelenting pressure around the bot lane. Hard to track all these TPs, especially since Keen can swap between them. I'm pretty sure he did swap recently, the TP. I know he had it in lane a little bit and TP back once, but I'm not sure if he changed it from there. Anyways, great play by FlyQuest because this allows them to get their second Infernal Drake of the game and even those up.
Crazy. Welcome to Club Bot Lane here. FlyQuest opening it up, and they are the bouncers. Shrimp grabbing second Drake. This is nice to deny from Cloud9 Academy so they aren't sitting on 2 Infernals, but there's a lot of stuff happening in this game. Every time one team is getting something, the opposing team makes sure to recoup on an objective. That's Rift Herald grab. Nice cannon barrage towards the bot side. A third lick. How many to get to center of a Braum? And that's how many Keith gets the final shot on as they get a 2 assist to that. And they start picking up a bit for themselves.
The first turret gold of the game is available, getting a little greedy there on the side of FlyQuest. Whoa. Shrimp wants to play a little bit, but FlyQuest were feeling that extra bonus gold in their sights. They wanted to use it, want to get it down there, could not get the turret in time, which allowed them to get the cleanup kill onto JJ. And then C9 Academy, who in response to all that action in the bot lane, grabbed that Rift Herald, able to use it top right away and grab the first turret gold for themselves.
Yeah, everything's just like instant activation right now. Rift Herald wasn't even held. Didn't even decide we needed to use it somewhere else. It is go right now, and it looks like the go button is hit again as Wiggly gets out of Raptors, says these are mine. Let's start denying Shrimp a few things if he's going to be trying to gank all of my lanes. A great counter though, reads it like a book. Who's going to come out on top? Curtain Call comes down as the call the Forge God right past Golden Glue and through him. Throws out the Zanyas. I don't think he's going to be living through this one, though. If he can get his ult down, to be a lot of damage to trade out. Still alive for quite some time. That may buy Cloud9 enough to trade back, and they do get the Retribution kill onto No. 1 for 1 in the mid lane. Both teams get together.
Yeah, it feels like No is struggling to play against this Swain. The entire team had kind of left Golden Glue alone, thinking that someone else was going to kill him, and it was just Jin, as far as I can tell, auto-attacking the Swain, who was sustaining up through his damage. So he lives for quite a bit longer than people were expecting. He also gets to activate his ultimate. If you don't manually activate it, it doesn't go off when you die. So the fact that they didn't just kill Golden Glue there allowed him to actually get some more damage off there, and probably through the last bit needed to actually finish No off, as he has no MR at this point.
Absolutely. A few seconds of misfocus, or oh, he's dead, this last hit will kill him, you turned away. That definitely gives them enough time to do a 1 kill return.
And with that, Keith looks like he's moving down to the mid lane now, or up to the mid lane, excuse me. Potentially setting up a 1-3-1, but here's another look at that play. Golden Glue does a good job flashing out of a lot of the initial CC, does get knocked up. There's plenty of damage here, but watch what people do. Shrimp has to leave because he's no longer going to have enough damage, and then everyone looks like they're just running past him. Only auto attacks going in. Still a bit of focus, actually more than I initially thought. Just showing the power of Swain there a little bit, how hard he is to take down.
Absolutely. Abyssal Mask for himself. Just trying to give it more tanky. Merc Preds to keep himself from getting exploded. So he's not technically getting all that AP for himself to give keen damage at this point. A big hit on Shiro in the bot side here. It's so hard for him to get out and farm a little bit by himself safely. And he's making himself out alive here. One more shot. He's going to be able to get him down. Nicely done. 205 for him. 202, 304. The scores across FlyQuest Academy as they are able to distribute where that power is going. But Cloud9 is able to open up the map, and sometimes that starts to mean more.
Oh yeah, definitely meaning a lot more right now. Despite the great KDAs on the side of FlyQuest Academy, they're always down pressure, and that was kind of indicated earlier in the CS deficits. So that means they're picking a lot of fights on their own side of the map. They're always CPing in behind people as opposed to diving them under their turret. So despite the fact that they found all those kills, they were very rarely able to transition that to anything other than that one Infernal Drake. So you see C9 Academy actually as the ones who are able to break the first 3 turrets of the game. With that pick off on Shiro, they might finally get their first turret here. I don't think even a GP Ultimate would stop this, so Shiro's not even going to try. And FlyQuest finally get on the board there, but they're still down about 2,500 gold.
Yeah. Drop mid, drop top, which actually are not too hurt at this point. Still quite a bit healthy. Shrimp is looking to make a few more of those picks. But that's kind of the idea. This pick would be a pick, but they wouldn't get too much off it. It's kind of a Raptor grab. Still a good move. Not wrong by any means, but they're not facilitating taking down that mid, making sure that nobody's going to be there. It's a slow push and no more damage, actually. They left it open. Interesting.
Nobody in the mid lane wanting to walk up there.
They're happy with the situation, apparently. Maybe they just want to get that fight onto Cloud9 here. That fog of war pressure they might be able to latch onto. And kind of interesting. It seems like they did and didn't want it as the curtain call came up there. Everybody was retreating back. So ultimate down here as we get a little bit more of a party in mid lane.
Bit of a miscommunication there on FlyQuest's side. They have a lot of tools to kind of look for pickoffs from range and just chunk people out. But the Jin ult was a bit of an overcommitment there. They could have just used the wall from Keen into the root from the Jin into some more free damage. Didn't really need to use the ultimate because there was no kill really going to happen.
Get some of that parallel jungling or lateral jungling from Shrimp as he's just living in the bot side of the jungle. still waiting for Wiggly. I'd say almost now-ish is his best chance to do the flash engages before you see a million Quicksilver Sashes come out in the inventories in this composition that actually has a good amount of damage right now. Try for a spike top. Golden Glue's got some items, or getting some items, I should say, but that Infinity Edge is there.
Yeah, they're definitely in a position that they should feel comfortable fighting. They're going to keep getting stronger, of course. A lot of these champions are great in the late game, but like you said, there's no QSSs on the side. So if you're going to find pickoffs, especially around the Infernal Dragon spawning 15 seconds, this is a great time to find one.
Cool. That's the question. Now's the question. What is your target? Do you kind of get baited into going for Keen, or can you go for Keen, Airy, or anybody?
You can basically go for anybody. Even Shrimp is a good target because he's 3-0-4 on this Kha'Zix and will be close range. So if you can finish him off quick.
Boom! Right there. Locks one down, and they are going to take down Shrimp, the man of the hour. Speak of the devil. It looks like Shiro's a little too far in, but he is taking so much damage and absorbing the pressure. Golden Glue from the side as he comes in with the flash, making sure that he's shaking the hands of everybody and finalizing the last kill on Airy. Just misses one auto attack to come in. Looks like Airy's going to be able to scoot himself out. But Cloud9 finally get the fight. They engage on their own terms.
Yep, they finally get their own fight. Even up the kills a little bit, and they can turn and look at Baron right away, leaving that Infernal Dragon up there. They don't have their eyes on that small Drake. They got a big purple worm that they want.
Boom! Only spawned 20 seconds ago. It's a great time to get it off the map and start to escalate the game. This is exactly what we were talking about before. And this is exactly the kind of thing FlyQuest wanted. Even FlyQuest won that fight, they'd have Baron. They were struggling to get turrets before, and that would have helped out a lot. So it is just falling in C9's favor right now. FlyQuest grabbing what they can.
Yeah, nice consolation prize in the Infernal Dragon, but that's only going to really come into an effect if they manage to stall out this Baron push. You see just a huge GP barrel, starts everything out, slows everyone down and chunks them out. It allows Wiggly to get right on top of Shrimp. He holds him right in spot there. It looked like he got stunned up by the wall, but the team was still able to finish him off. And now without Shrimp to provide some extra damage, the front line goes down very quickly. Golden Glue gets a great flank. Airy is able to live through this, but just barely, and the rest of the team finds some kills. Looks like Bolt Boy's coming out ahead thus far in the voting.
Absolutely. I also like that play by Zeyzal. He saw Golden Glue going in, but did Abyssal Voyage closer to the turret to try and grab aggro. They missed each other by a second, but it's the thought that counts. Trying to be that first aggro under the turret. Keith probably going to set up a nice cupcake line here, keep themselves safe as they have the Banner minions, or I'm sorry, Baron minions heading into the mid lane.
And there's some decent wave clear on the side of FlyQuest Academy. Jin and, Vygar, almost said Varus. Vygar is pretty good at clearing minions out, so they will maybe be able to hold on here. If they can stabilize enough to the point where they don't lose an inhibitor turret, I would say that's a decent base defense against this Baroned up Caitlyn, Swain, and GP. But who knows, maybe C9 looks for a dive.
So much pressure. Look at that 5 set of locked down.
It's an interesting formation.
It is an interesting formation. Ooh.
I don't think you want that.
Oh, the sweeper comes out. Not feeling good for Shrimp. He's going to try to get himself to a safe spot, and he does get around the corner. Almost gets actually chomped up by Zeyzal in that situation. JJ puts up Unbreakable. Shrimp has the backline. Keith is in the open. Oh my God, they delete him immediately. And now they're pushing into FlyQuest base. He thought he had the upper hand, but they slapped it right down and said, sit down. We're going for the inhibitors.
Really nice attempt there by Shrimp, but just too squishy at this point in the game. And the fact that C9 Academy was ready for it. They were able to find Shrimp, keep Keith alive. Wow. Now the push can keep on coming.
Right onto the inhib now, and they were doing it in the eyes of FlyQuest, just scratching their backs. What an escalation in power here for Cloud9 Academy, and they're going to be able to walk right to the top side as it's already been pushing.
I'm going to be able to grab one more turret off the back of this. The gold lead exploding up to 10,000 now in C9 Academy's favor. It's going to keep getting worse from here. Still a minute left on the Baron, so they're going to be able to have enough time to recall once, shop a little bit, spend some of that gold they just earned before continuing to push in one of these other side lanes.
Well, it feels tough, man. You're like, oh, cool, 400 HP. I do that in one click. Couldn't get it.
Nice.
Well, he's got like 700.
Yeah, nice little look there. Chunks Keith out to half. Golden Glue kind of gets caught out, so forces this engage. Keith is CC'd up, so Shrimp thinks he can get onto him here, but just a massive headshot crit. I think that's all that was.
Instant
really.
impale, too.
Yeah, so they were ready for it. He came out of stealth a little bit before he was on top of Maybe if he could have got right on top of him to land a WQ auto combination, he might have been able to chunk him out. Still probably would have went down, but at least maybe you took out one of the backline members of C9, and then you can win on the front side.
Getting all excited. They were ready for it. And I'm sure they will be ready for it again. C9A Academy knows that is a super big win condition for FlyQuest. They got to stop the Kazakhs. And honestly, they're doing a really great job at not letting Keen just kind of trap anybody out. They're playing against the Veigar, and we have not seen them forget that concept and kind of throw themselves into a fight.
Yeah, and they have a good kind of mid to long range team comp here on C9A Academy side. I mean, GP can contribute to team fights from the barrels. You have Swain, who's a good kind of midline mage. Caitlyn very far away, so no one's really diving onto FlyQuest backline that Keen is then stopping. I mean, Golden Glue is really the only threat, maybe Wiggly, but a lot of the time he goes for a flash and pale play, and by that point he's already CC'd somebody up. Maybe he doesn't get to pull them all the way back to his team, but they're at least not moving either.
Just run around in the baby cage. Like,
yeah.
I still got you. Oh!
Yeah, there you go. Or you can grab the Veigar.
My word, they go right onto Keen this time. He's actually quite tanky at this point in the game. They turn right around onto Wiggly, but that's Keith in the backline, still firing away. As he sees the targets in his eyes, goes ace in the hole just to deter them a little bit off this inhibitor turret, but they bit off quite a bit there. Starting to split the teams. They know Shiro is on the top side, and even losing one member, they can still spread FlyQuest thin between the inhibitors.
Yeah, but how much more can they really get off this? They're now getting back into the base, healing up. Shiro.
Those got to be careful here.
Both got to be careful. They get the flash out of Shiro. Shrimp doesn't want to chase. The bot lane's going to have to back off here. Or maybe not. There are super minions in the mid lane.
Damage control is the name of the game right now. There is so much happening at such an early portion of the game where you don't have a ton of damage to take down super minions. So it's a real struggle for FlyQuest as C9 keeps the pressure on.
Yeah, it looks like they are finally going to break off this push.
Yep.
A good defense there by FlyQuest. I thought Wiggly had a really nice pull onto Keen, but couldn't really get him to the backline members of FlyQuest to blow him up. Or
That's,
excuse me,
that's kind of the dive we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Into that Event Horizon.
Right, but I thought he was going to be able to pull him because he grabbed Keen, the guy with the Event Horizon, but couldn't get him into the team. Keen ends up living. He's going to be able to disengage this fight a little bit, and then, yeah, why not? I'll just drop all my damage onto this Skarner. So there's the pull. He is slowed, gets knocked up, and CC'd by the rest of FlyQuest. Yeah, a lot of stuff there to make sure that Keen stayed alive, and then as soon as he's out of that suppression, just turns around and blows up Wiggly. I mean, that's what Keen's pick is there to do, and they're able to disengage from there. They do lose their top turret because Shiro broke his TP off once they lost their jungler and focused on taking that turret down. But FlyQuest hanging in there just barely, still at 10K.
Definitely going to be tough. They have the ultimate scaler. They just keep going.
Infinite scaling mage Veigar.
He can start popping people, but you can only really pop one person. Then it takes a little bit. And the movements of Keith and the rest of the team are not going to be standing still for that damage.
Yeah, but he does have his death cap completed now. He has Void Staff.
Void Staff too, yeah, that stings.
Pretty much anyone is a viable target for him. Golden Glue might be the least viable because he has a Zonya's available, so if he sees that big chunk of damage coming at him, he can just negate it, and that would be pretty horrible for FlyQuest team fight. So as long as he's not targeting Golden Glue, or they have him in the middle of a chain CC so he can't break out of it and avoid the damage, otherwise you're probably looking at just bursting out a frontline member. Burst Shiro, burst Wiggly, and then it's hard for them to walk forward into No and the Braum.
Curtain call. Does the show begin though? Okay, Zazel hit up, actually eats, oh my god, ate up Keith. Keith almost goes down still as soon as he spat out. Tries to heal himself off the Scuttle Crab as JJ goes down very low as well, but Shrimp has one thing in mind. He's actually doing a great job at disrupting Cloud9 and trying to make that happen. FlyQuest still looking for a way into this fight, but it looks like it's calmed down for now as they gain control of mid.
Hasn't worked out every single time, but I really love the way Shrimp is playing these fights. It's unfortunate that the rest of FlyQuest could not move through the GPL.
Oh, no!
Caught out.
Oh, the face check. They got to try once. Did they go to Baron? We gave them enough room, but they actually gave him position of the entire river in that fog of war. A great trade back. There goes Wiggly once again by the hands of Keen. That's the one he's been trying to pick up. JJ low. In and down goes Keith. Finally back to the backside of the fight. Shrimp was the damage on the side of FlyQuest here as they start to back around, reassess the fight. Now 3v3 left on the map, standing in mid.
Wiggly not paying enough attention. Kind of hard to see Veigar's W on that skin, to be honest. So he did not notice it, walked right on top of it, gets blown up by Veigar as they were trying to chase through that fight. And then we have Shrimp hiding over the wall at the perfect time, finds Keith, something he's been doing over and over. And that's what I was beginning to say, is I really like how Shrimp is playing these fights.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out every single time, but he knows he needs to disrupt these fights a little bit. So it starts out awful with No getting popped instantly. You see the combo come in from Keen to burst out Wiggly, and then his W is just going to come down over the top, lands right on top of him. Also landed the Q, I believe, so got a ton of damage. And then as they're continuing to chase forward, despite losing their jungler, at least Keith exposed in the back line, did cost the flash of Shrimp, so he's going to have a harder time finding that next time. But things starting to break a little bit in FlyQuest's favor, but they have a lot of work to do.
This is a 50-50. Shrimp's going to be there in time easily. It's only down to 6,500. Cloud9 make the correct call. This game just evened out a lot. There may be a base down for FlyQuest here, but Cloud9 realizes they need to respect the fight and the way that FlyQuest is playing from behind here.
Yeah, FlyQuest playing great from behind. Their inhibitors have respawned now, so there's no minion pressure at the very least. Their base is still very exposed, and you have to be worried about a split push GP.
Because it's still like one fight and done.
Yeah, I'm not sure No can match the GP, and especially now that his TP is down, FlyQuest might end up in a really awkward situation where they just need to force the Baron, or they can find a kill.
Okay, one slow, gets the flash, so he make sure he doesn't get the brittle. Ooh, and now they are out. So a little bit used there to get out. We do see a flash from Wiggly. And the ult from No. Teleport as well from No used recently, so they're going to be sticking together on the side of FlyQuest.
Yep, so here's that force that we're talking about. They don't have the TP to match the GP, so they need to make this happen. They need to find this smite. Or they'll just get it for free.
Wiggly gets locked out. Ashley, nice job on the Glacial Fissure. The fight in the pit happens, but Shiro is having the time of his life, and the base Shrimp just lives with a sliver of health. No, he goes down. Great job by Keith to get the kill, believing the red buff continues to tick, and now they're going to make their way to the base as they are going to meet with Shiro, who's already having fun.
Yeah, but they lost 2 members against 5. Oh, here's Zazel teleport them into the base, actually.
Oh, ate him up. Was he like dead from the ace of the hole? He saved him. He said, my kill. Oh, no, Wiggly's kill. They make their way in. It looks like they could put the final touches on game 1.
I was about to say, they lost 2 members, so they can probably at least take all 3 inhibitors, but with that final kill, they might be able to get all 3, or end the game, excuse me.
Keith, focus on the turrets. I like this. Members of solo queue going for the kills. Everybody wants to pad the KDA, but there are turrets. Objectives to be taken down. That's the HP you want to be shredding. And now, with 1 down, they're going to back up a bit, but have full control over kind of organizing another fight. They're in the driver's seat, and they say, we stay for another inhibitor. Golden Glue with the Zanya's down. Keen puts himself in melee range, but he gets chopped up and does not get the ultimates to lock down the kill there. They are forced to watch C9 leave.
So FlyQuest are able to hold on. They have the Baron buff for 2 more minutes. That'll help a little bit in holding out against the double super minions that they're going to be getting from having all 3 inhibitors down. But that Baron, they did get it. They got out to some extent. Not sure it was worth it because it cost them their entire base.
Yeah.
It was a really tough trade there, and it's just been a really hard game for them to play after they fell so far behind. They get pinned up in this pit. JJ instantly gets blown up, and Golden Glue is just running at 3 members. They have no hope of winning this fight, so they understand they all just need to flash the wall. Shrimp goes down to the burn there, and then Shiro's going to wrap around from the base, as well as having the TP come in from Zazel to cut off the final kill. And yeah, it's really hard actually for Keen to play this Vygar. One of the things I was getting to talk about was the Tom Kench. We were talking about the Zhonya's being able to save Golden Glue. If Tom Kench is in the right position, there's no target really for Keen to blow up.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Zanya's is a hit confirm for Devour.
Yeah.
Basically, you could not die. It was 2 Zanyas in a row there. Great play coming out of the Tom Kench and Zanya's combo. 13-11 now. Things swinging a little bit for FlyQuest for a moment, but Cloud9 was still able to find their footing at the Baron pit. FlyQuest kind of saying, if we have Baron minions, maybe we can push back a little harder. But if you don't have a base, it's not going to matter. And that's where Cloud9 is right now, knocking on the front door as they have a Nexus turret and the Nexus in their eyes.
And C9 are just going to sit on them here, force the minions into the base, start chipping away at those turrets. They have the super long range with Caitlyn.
Yeah.
FlyQuest Academy are probably going to have to pull the trigger here because the minions are starting to collapse.
30 seconds left on that buff. Get a little bit of solace here on the pushback of these super minions. the trap line. There's only so many traps that you can put out.
It's a pretty open area at this point for only 5 traps.
Great area though. It works well. They want to hide between them. They want to get around them. Very, very, very low. Almost dies to the cannon barrage. They throw down the call. The horn got it. Might be the final time he blows the horn this game.
Shiro's
Golden
dead.
Glue with the focus on the turrets. Shiro goes down. That's a little bit of damage they could use in this fight. If Keith stays alive, they could definitely make it happen. A nice knockup, puts 3 of them in the air, denies a bit of that. Oh, the explosion from Golden Glue's ultimate. Zazel can't get in for the Devour. Kenny, oh, hit confirm on the ult like we said, but it doesn't matter. He goes down immediately. A triple kill possibly. If Wiggly goes down, they're going to get the hits. Oh my God, they stop it and save the game. An ace with Keen in the last kill.
The Nexus is at 100 HP. One more auto attack by Keith would have been enough. They got the Braum passes at the perfect timing to keep the Nexus alive. They need to make sure no minions can actually get on top of it now, and they need to hold out for their inhibitors to respawn, but by God, they've done it thus far.
Who was padding stats? Replay. Who was doing it? I think everybody was doing what they could, but oh my word, just that last hit. Smiles. It's kind of that, like, getting invigorated by FlyQuest Academy here. Smiles on the faces of Keen there, like, holy shit, we survived that. It's a best of 5. They need to keep themselves with a smile on the face under the pressure.
Yeah, you see Shiro almost killed both backline members of FlyQuest on the top side of your screen there, and so he tunnels a little bit, goes too far forward, gets tagged once, which slows him down enough for Keen to go for the ultimate and finish him off. Meanwhile, the other 4 members haven't really managed to do very much. They eventually pulled No, but this is a 5v4 that they're fighting at this point. And they finally kill No, but at this point, they start getting chunked out. Another W lands on the Golden Glue, almost instantly killing him. He's in stasis, tries to get eaten up by Zazel, but that just puts him in range for Shrimp to get a double kill. This whole time, Keith realized the fight was going bad, broke off to the right side to try and focus down the Nexus, but needed one more auto attack, gets exploded with that Braum passive, and then none of the minions are doing their jobs.
Dude, it paid off to have those Baron minions, man.
Yeah, that was huge. They had Baron minions for a while there, keeping their turrets alive, but
oh my word,
they're not out of the woods yet. Anyone can just Tom Kench ult on top of it.
The woods got deeper.
Yeah, Tom Kench can just transport somebody while these are down, potentially get a kill. GP can maybe just go in there as well. They're going to go for a fight instead.
Oh, the instant fight. Golden Glue is already around to the back side of it. Whoa!
Not going
they
well.
lost Shiro. They lost Zazel. They lost Wiggly. This is not looking good. He gets a few shots. He gets deleted immediately. And this means FlyQuest has a lot of ground. Zazel scratching his chin, wondering, should we have gone for it or should we have initiated?
I don't think they should have initiated. Maybe it's a little bit of hindsight analysis there, but that didn't go well. They lost all 5 people. They had other options. I was saying, like, you can take that Tom Kench and ult Keith to the back line behind the Nexus and then fight there. And Shiro drop a ward. Maybe he TP's in. They have a couple ways of playing it, and instead they tried to brute force a fight. It went bad again. Then Keith goes on the hero mission, realizing that, yeah, we just lost this fight a second time in a row.
And now that's not in Abyssal Voyage range to happen. That there's too much of health on the Nexus come time they get back there.
Plus, the inhibitors are back up, so you'll need to chew through those as well.
And that's why you're the color. 21-15, 37 minutes in. Mid turret goes down for FlyQuest Academy.
It's only a 37-minute game?
That's progress.
This feels like it's like a 50-minute game.
We've already the Barons are going down as soon as they come up, so they feels like it's escalating a lot more. Here's this fight, and they were all for it, going for broke.
But they're just focusing down Shrimp and No. They're not really hitting any primary targets. And Keith goes on the solo mission. Golden Glue
2 shots, 3 shots.
Keen just does a ton of damage at this point. If you're not tracking his Ws, he will just blow you up. I hope we get to see exactly how much damage his Ws are doing at this point, because he's probably at a ton of extra AP.
Cover the mean.
Look at that. Oh, God. 7,000 damage in that last team fight.
7,000 damage. Absolutely ridiculous for Keen. And this is the guy that we said could be that staple, the veteran on the team. You look for him, you look for Shrimp. We look at what our featured matchup is, and it's Golden Glue versus Keen. And that laning phase did not go well for him, but he kept balanced and he kept his head in the game. And now 6-1 and 10 is carrying for the team with their help.
Gonna need to keep carrying. They're going on
absolutely
hero here as the Baron drops. They're gonna lose that.
Got to get his Keen backpack on.
They didn't even get Shiro, didn't get anything out of him other than his ultimate, so he'll be just fine. C9 Academy are going to set up for this push now. Not too much left for them to do. If they 4-1 with Shiro again, he can probably take one of the inhibitors by himself.
Yeah. That
will open up the Nexus if they want to go try and rush that down. Probably not the best plan, though.
From brush to brush. Getting passive activations left and right. Man, what a game so far. The map is completely open now, and they haven't seen each other for a while, so this is the time where, like, we have to move as a group. We cannot face check things. There are almost no wards throughout that middle area. Everybody only has that safety vision right now.
Somehow,
back out on the map.
Aerie not at max items yet. 5-1 and 14. Only 5,000 gold behind. The gold lead has shrunk a fair amount. Sitting on 16 gold. Oh, he has 2,300 gold. So I guess he's
burning a hole in his pocket.
Yeah, I think he's waiting on an IE because he has a crit cloak as his last item. So he's a bit of a sad boy trying to get that IE money.
I believe you are correct, sir. That's going to be a big boost, though, once he does get that. Bot lane for Shiro. Teleports up on all sides, but it looks like it's going to be a quick walk around the horn of the front of the base.
Oh, careful
just
there,
to
Shrimp.
get from inhib to inhib. One's out. They know he's behind. A great eat up there. Zazel flashes over the wall to keep pure protection there for Keith. They're going to lose Wiggly immediately in this one. Keith actually slowed down by the Glacial Fissure, but the fight inside the base being brought by Shiro. They're trying to spread FlyQuest Academy thin, but they're actually losing more than they're gaining at this point. And it looks like FlyQuest can hold these.
Yeah, basically 50% damage on the top inhibitor was the biggest punish that C9 got after losing their mid laner. They're trying to split up FlyQuest, but like you said, there's so much pick-off potential on their side. They can start out fights from an immense range with the Call of the Forge God. They also have the follow-up that comes in from Aerie. Shrimp has done a great job binding flanks over and over again, so he gets easy access to the back line. And at that point, in a 3v5, someone's dead, and the other members of your team haven't really had a chance to get the push going. I think C9 would be much better suited for just a 4-1. Uh-oh, here we go again.
Vroom, vroom. Oh,
my
goodbye! Shrimp instantly dissecting Wiggly. I'm sorry, Keith. Wiggly's still down. But that's 2 off the map, and this is what FlyQuest is doing to make sure they have control over the game. It's kind of hard to say it earlier, and you brought light to it, but FlyQuest had the kind of season where you're like, wow, this is a team that's here. Didn't expect that, because they don't straight out win games, but they don't lose games. And that's what we're seeing here. They just don't know how to lose at this point. And right now, they are pushing back with force down the mid lane. They take down Golden Glue. They're looking for Wiggly, and they're going to drop him as he just came back up.
But at the same time, Tom Kench has gone back. He transported GP. They're going to go for some kind of crazy split push thing. There's the teleport by No was canceled. Or no, it actually came through. They're going to try and finish off Shiro and Zazel here.
Waltzing in with safety to get out. They try to get it again. 50% on the inhibitor turret, and they might lose members on the way out. Big damage going over onto Shrimp. He's got to choose his targets carefully now, and they're going to have an easy kill onto the Tom Kench. Might do a good bit of damage.
Oh,
it does get the Guardian Angel, so that's a big...
But they're ending in the mid lane.
Towards the mid. Nexus turrets are going down. That's the pip on the side of Cloud9 Academy's base. FlyQuest pushing back and going coast to coast, looking to get the final kill. Keith needs to stay alive to add the pressure, but he has to also get goal side to the Nexus. It's open. 41 minutes in. Backs against the wall. FlyQuest take game 1.
Are you kidding me, Riv? They come back after having all 3 inhibitors down and a Nexus at 100 HP, and FlyQuest somehow rally back and win the game.
Absolutely incredible defense here with troubles in the end game, or ending the game, I should say, for Cloud9. FlyQuest Academy taking full advantage of those mishaps and completely turning C9 Academy on their head. And holy moly.
Keith did not look happy, kind of ripped his headset off there. And this is one of the things you get tested in the best of 5. You know, during the regular season, you have a game like that, you're mad, but you let the steam off because you're not playing again for at least another day. And now you have to go get ready for game 2 after a crushing loss like that.
What a turn, because this is the halftime hit. They just scored a goal before halftime, but it's even more of a goal. That was a 47-minute hit for C9. Just to be turned around. They have to be able to get through that. Let's take a look at Pick Ban here to start things off. And we thought the Vager falling all the way down, Keen feeling like he could handle it, hurt him in the laning phase, but they know what they're doing.
Definitely hurt them in the early game. I mean, they gave up so many power picks in this draft. I have to say that I didn't really love it, but they showed a couple things. 1, if they can make it to late game, Keen is a monster on Vygar. 2, Shrimp is a monster at all portions of the game. On the Kha'Zix pick, he was 3-0-2. Things started going wrong, but he's kept finding the backline, kept finding Keith, killed him so many times. And you got to look at Zazel and say, where was he during those points where he wasn't just next to his AD carry to keep him alive? Feels like there has to have been some kind of misplay there. And they make this comp work, though I would be very interested to see if they go for it in game 2, because the game plan is not fall 10K behind.
No, it is not. Playing very well around the entire thing. FlyQuest focusing the bot lane to start off early. We saw a party of 3, 4, and even 5-man down there with everybody TPing in, and it looks like the kind of what they needed to do to say, hey, Keith might be getting ahead. We need to slow things down on our accord.
Yep, and FlyQuest are doing the right thing, but you're going to notice a lot of these fights are happening near their turrets. So they're not going to transition any of these fights to gold leads, and they're not really winning them super convincingly either. Starts out with nice double kill, but they lost one. This fight extends, they re-engage, teleports keep coming in, and they keep finding kills. And at some point they had a 4 or 5 kill lead, excuse me, but it didn't have that much going for the gold. The most they ever got out of this was an Infernal Dragon, and during that time, C9A Academy was crushing them in CS leads in the mid and bot lane, with the top lane having Kleptomancy GP getting more gold than the Ornn.
Absolutely, and we jump forward to a replay at 20 minutes. Cloud9 extending their lead. It's the game where we said, you know, FlyQuest is getting all these fights, but they're not getting the objectives, and Cloud9 was. Yeah,
Cloud9 finally find their ideal fight in this mid game. They instantly kill Shrimp, who have been kind of abusing them in situations, and then they keep chasing through. They find a 3rd kill onto JJ, and off that they get the Baron, which is a huge reward compared to what FlyQuest was getting off their early game skirmishes. And at this point in the game, I think it ended up being about a 10K gold lead. You're talking about this.
That was a 20-minute Baron.
Yeah, 20-minute Baron. As fast as you can possibly get it, basically. And like we said, massive gold lead, 25 minutes in the game. So you think this game's going to be closed out around the 30-minute mark.
Absolutely. And then the game kind of goes on a bit. It goes on. You're like, oh, C9's going to push into the base. They're stretching FlyQuest in. But the base defense was strong with FlyQuest today.
And this is where Keen really started coming alive. Blows up Shiro at the start of this. Leads to a 5v4 team fight, and you see split focus. Eventually, Keith realizes we're not winning this and starts hitting the Nexus turret, but he's the only one doing it.
Do it!
Wiggly tries to get involved as well, but he's just a little Skarner scuttling at that thing. Nothing really happening. Keith does his best, heal, flash away, but the last stack of the Braum passive triggering as well as a damage burst, stopping him from getting what would have been the last auto attack needed, and then that kind of puts them in tilt mode where they start over-focusing different things down. They start a really crazy fight down this bot lane. Keen is somehow able to live through this and then just chunks out the other members, dies at the very end, but Golden Glue's already gotten low. He was still in that fight while once again, Keith had realized the fight wasn't going well, broke up to the top side, and they kept taking these kind of half measures, not completely committing to the team fight, nor completely committing to going for the Nexus, and they came up short in every single way.
It was ridiculous, because at one point in the game, we said, C9 could win a big fight here with that first Baron at 20 minutes and just get to the Nexus and win, but it didn't happen like that. FlyQuest close out the game, pushing all the way down the mid lane and saying, let's keep going with the picks.
And they already have 2 kills here. They had killed Wiggly right before this. Golden Glue's caught out of position. You're going to see that Keen damage just blow him up. No chance to live there. And then they get the chase down onto Wiggly again, finishing him off. Zeyzal realizes they're in a lot of trouble. He ends up transporting Shiro to these Nexus turrets, or inhibitors, excuse me, to hopefully get into a base race situation. But Ornn had TP'd back right away. Shrimp gets his recall off, and they're going to win this 2v2 while the 3-man core of FlyQuest continues to push in the mid lane. And this is off the back of Shrimp finding a couple pickoffs. They killed Wiggly. Keith was not being very careful after that death, and Shrimp found another angle onto Keith to kill him. And then he wins this 2v2 yet again. And during this time, Keith respawns in the mid lane, but hey, he's all alone now because everyone had backed off. And so he's doing his best to defend, but there's no minions. JJ is very, very tanky. All that they need. Keith stays alive. But
meanwhile
in his own base, not much going for them. They lose that fight. They lose the game. You see the gold lead. Woo. Only time that FlyQuest had a gold lead potentially, other than the first like 5 minutes of the game.
Right there.
Minute 45.
That is a roller coaster. I'd ride it again.
I don't know about that. I don't think FlyQuest wants to ride that one again. The drop was a little too high for them potentially.
Absolutely. So in the end, though, we saw a good, looking at the featured matchup, we saw a good laning phase, and then we saw a good end game phase. So are you Vault Boy or are you Kipo?
I think I'm a Team Kipo right now a little bit. I mean, that was a huge performance.
Yeah.
Not saying I love the Vygar picks early game. Maybe they can get a couple more power picks in the other lanes to offset potentially the weaker early game of Vygar, but it looked great in the late game. I'd be down to watch it again.
So what are we thinking for kind of Cloud9 coming in here? Because I feel like FlyQuest has a lot of pressure relieved right now. They can not run any comp they want, but they aren't struck to be like, we need to get top priority picks on blue side next game. So what are you thinking for kind of Cloud9? Stick to the same stuff because it didn't not work.
Yeah, I would say if you're blue side again and you get those same chance to take those champions, take them again. I mean, you had a 10K gold lead. You were out laning them again, which is great. Maybe you ban out the Kazakhs. Maybe that's the one adaptation you make because that was the critical bridge to getting the Vygar online. Yeah, he was a beast that game.
Absolutely. Keeping that win condition in his head and keeping those wins in mind for the team. FlyQuest has taken the lead in this series with a Game 1 win, but we are just getting started. See if Cloud9 Academy can strike back after the break. Do not go anywhere.